It's interesting how Trump and his followers seem to think that he's like saving the US from all of these foreign entanglements by leaving the United Nations Charter on Human Rights, leaving the World Health Organization, all of these things, and then doing this thing of like, oh, we'll deport anyone who disagrees with us, kind of, oh, America first, all that kind of stuff. Like, subsequent administrations are going to have to invest so much money in just getting the rest of the world to trust them again. Allied countries like the UK and the Nordic countries are putting out travel warnings for anyone planning to go to the United States. French scientists who have been found to have texts where they were not complimentary of Trump on their phones when they tried to enter the country were turned away. And of course there are international students being snatched off the streets right now and held in undisclosed locations for undisclosed reasons without charge. This will have a catastrophic knock-on effect on tourism, on investment, on international cooperation in general, because the general worldview is that the US has betrayed its former allies. And that will be the narrative going forward. You've even got like Canada, the closest ally of the US, saying, yeah, that relationship is over. We can't trust the US anymore. So I don't know who's going to be president after Trump. I don't know. But whoever it is going to have to deal with the United States that the world doesn't trust and doesn't really want to talk to that much. Along with the fact that in the 4 years over Trump's second administration, a lot of these former allies that have been betrayed and discarded by the US will have formed their own alliances, their own systems, their own ways of doing things that don't involve the US because the US can't be trusted. Coalition of the willing, Kansas, even talks of like Canada joining the EU. America is going to try and show up again after 4 years of being the playground bully and wonder why none of the kids want to go near them, assuming that it's a different administration.
See, what Donald Duck doesn't realize is he's not just damaging America's politics, he's actually damaging white America's reputation around the world. Because for centuries, Black folks have been out here trying to clean up that image. We've been the bridge, right? The reason why people in Africa and the Caribbean and South America and even Europe still gave America a chance because they saw us. They saw our soul, they saw our music, they saw our forgiveness and our strength. And they said, if those people can still love America after everything it's done to them, maybe America isn't all that bad. Black people humanized this country, right? We softened how the world saw white people. Through our grace, through our creativity, and our endurance, we made America look civilized. We made it look like progress was possible. But then Trump came along and he ripped that mask off, right? He's exposing the same hate and the greed and the cruelty that we've been warning about for generations. Now the world sees it, live and unfiltered, the arrogance, the racism, the authoritarianism, all of it on full display. While Black people were out here trying to build bridges, Trump's been out here burning them down. While we were trying to heal the image of white America, he's been proving every stereotype right. That power corrupts, that whiteness unchecked turns violent, that America's greatness was built on domination, not democracy. So now the world ain't just looking at us like the victims anymore. They're looking at y'all like the threat. And that's the irony in all of this. For centuries, we've carried the burden of proving America had humanity. Now Trump's making the world question if it ever did.
US News won't show you this, but I will. For the first time ever, more countries around the world viewed the US negatively than positively. Want to guess why? The 2025 Democracy Perception Index surveyed over 110,000 people in 100 different countries, and the results are not great for the US. America's global image has collapsed. In fact, even China is viewed more positively than the United States around the world. The US dropped from 22% approval rating last year to negative 5% this year. According to this index, Donald Trump is the least liked public figure. Only 27% of the people polled view him positively, even ranking below Vladimir Putin. And when asked why, former NATO Secretary General said, "It's no surprise that opinions have slipped, even among people like me who have spent their lives admiring the United States and what it stood for." He then went on to say that America's credibility is collapsing, and the reason is Donald Trump. He cited Trump's trade wars, bullying allies, engaging in, quote, chaotic diplomacy. And he's right. Sadly, the US is no longer the democratic model to follow. What do you guys think?
Hello, what's up, good people? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome for another interesting video. Now, is Donald Trump isolating America into irrelevance? You know, there's something that many people are not fully grasping, or many of us are not fully grasping about Donald Trump and his entire political project. But experts have been warning about this, especially economically. Everyone keeps focusing on perhaps the drama, the chaos, the insults, the court cases. But are we missing something bigger? The global picture. Donald Trump is actually damaging America in ways that the country might not recover easily. And perhaps the most dangerous part, it's not even the loud authoritarian and fascist stance he's portraying in America and to the rest of the world. It's not even the rampant white supremacy and racism today that we are seeing across America, but actually something far quieter but far more deadlier: isolationism. Because in a world where it's about cooperation, it's about working with each other. Donald Trump perhaps thinks that America can live alone without everybody else. And, that is dangerous. And the consequences are actually very obvious already so early. Look at the case with those white farmers in Arkansas, or soybean farmers. Donald Trump chose to chase away the Chinese market for soybeans. But the consequences did not hit the Chinese because they turned to Brazil and Argentina for soybean. The consequences actually hit the soybean farmers, who now have to, put up with their produce in stores because they can't sell it anymore. Now, before we talk about this a little longer in this video, let's watch some of these videos I have compiled for you, and we'll be back with a great analysis at the end. See you on the other side.
Donald Trump has irreparably damaged the U.S. Standing worldwide, and it will never return to its prior. We will never be back where we were. Why? Because now it is clear to the entire world that the United States system of government is so fragile and so broken that one person, one guy, with no oversight can destroy the entire world's economy because he doesn't understand how tariffs work. And why would they ever trust us again? Why would they ever trust us again? Okay? We're cooked. There's no coming back from this. Even if someone else gets elected in 2028, they're going to go, well, why do we want to start buying from them? We could suddenly get more tariffs put on us. Why would we want to enter a trade deal with them? They could just go back on it, because remember when Trump was president, they just ignored a bunch of previous negotiated agreements. They're not going to trust us, okay? Our standing in the world is done.
The president has hurt us. I travel the world. I'll hit 40 cities over a 2.5-year period of time. And when I talk to people around the world, you pick the location. If they're not talking in front of a camera and they're talking privately, they're negative on what the president's doing. They're negative on international reputation, international standing that the United States has right now. And they feel that they've lost some level of trust in the U.S.'s ability to stick by its allies. I mean, the president is going after Canada. He's going after Europe. He's attacking, I guess, Greenland. I guess he wants to own Greenland. He's going after the Panama Canal. He's shooting at innocent fishermen off the coast of Venezuela and Colombia. And the Colombia president said, hey, you just killed, without any due process, one of our innocent fishermen. And the president said, okay, well, I'm going to cut your aid now because you've outed me. So this is the stuff that's going on. It hurts America's reputation. It hurts our standing.
So Donald Trump is having an absolute meltdown. He's crapping his pants. And the reason why he's crapping his pants over the last 12 hours is because of one thing, and it's been seen in the G20, it's been seen in Europe, it's been seen in Canada, it's been seen in Latin America. The whole world realizes that they no longer need the United States of America, and we are moving on because Donald Trump has destroyed America. We don't need you anymore. Take care.
America's economy is losing over and over because of Trump's shambolic trade war. I mean, it was really stupid to say to the number one country that buys the very few things that we make, fuck you. Well, now they're saying no, fuck you. We used to sell $13 billion in soybeans to China. They said, you know what? Fuck that. We'll get them from Brazil. We don't sell that many things to other countries. We can't have a $13 billion sale just canceled. We also make beef and poultry. We used to sell tons of that to China. Now they're getting it from Australia. That's another one of the very few products we make and sell overseas gone. That's billions of dollars out of the American economy. We used to sell liquefied petroleum gas to China. Now they're going to get that from the Middle East instead of us. I'm not saying this is going to happen. They've already canceled their orders and started getting their things from these other places. So American producers had consumers in China, and those were lost because of Trump. This is billions of dollars that is lost to thousands of American producers. And these contracts are not just magically going to come back after this trade war ends. You have damaged the American economy for the long term.
I'm really starting to think that Trump is purposely trying to destroy the U.S. economy and get America to collapse the way the USSR did, so that him and his billionaire buddies can buy everything up for pennies on the dollar and turn us into a full-blown oligarchy the way Russia did after the USSR collapsed. That's the only thing that makes sense in my brain, because everything that he is doing is isolating America from its allies. He is destroying trade on the world stage with us and all of the people we do trade with. I mean, China's putting exports on restrictions on all of their rare earth exports at this point. There's literally nothing that he's done since he took office that is good for the American people or the American economy. Everything that he has done has been for billionaires and has been at the detriment of the U.S. as a country. Like, our entire workforce is being decimated now as he is sending a whole bunch of people out of the country who used to do jobs like construction and farming. So we're going to have a food shortage because there's not enough people picking the food. We're going to have a worse housing problem because there's not enough people building the houses. And it literally seems like everything that he is doing is just designed to destroy this country. And yet the MAGA people are still licking his boots.
If you're wondering when our fellow Americans are going to recognize the damage that Donald Trump is doing to this country, I want to point out that more and more Americans are. This is easy to miss because it doesn't get covered much, but public opinion has been moving quickly and dramatically away from the president. Among young people, he's lost 34 points of support. And I think it's because he's failing to keep his most basic promises. He hasn't brought prices down. They're going up because of his actions. The economy as a whole is getting worse. And most Americans see that and recognize it. And it's showing up in the way that they think and talk about the president. So don't fall for this attempt to make you feel disempowered. Raising our voices makes a difference.
So this is exactly what many of us have been sounding the alarm bells for. There are so many people here inside the United States that think the rest of the world relies on us so heavily that they cannot survive without us. And these are the lies that we grew up with. Not only that, but we were sold the lie that we are the greatest nation on earth. And there are far too many people here in this country who believe that. Our current administration promotes this level of arrogance. The Trump administration wants the MAGAs to believe that the whole world relies so heavily on us that they cannot survive without us. This is how Trump got so many voters to begin with. He gaslit so many people into believing that they would be better off with him president. And so far, it's not going so well. The people who did not vote for him are not the only ones suffering. Those who voted for him, many of them, have buyer's remorse.
Setting aside the fact that I am fully aware that the vast majority of MAGA supporters on social media are bots and trolls, there are still people in real life that think what's going on right now are fine, that think Donald Trump is doing a good job, that he's doing literally anything good for America. What exactly is America First about destroying our soybean industry? What exactly is America First about giving $40 billion to Argentina, or building a $240 million ballroom that nobody asked for, or spending hundreds of millions of dollars going golfing every weekend at your own private resort, or wasting hundreds of millions of dollars sending national troops around the country like your own personal political pawns to try to make a point into cities where no one has asked for your help. The National Guard troop deployment to DC alone was estimated to cost $120 million for 60 days. Imagine what we could do with $120 million besides have cosplaying National Guardsmen picking up trash in DC. And that doesn't even count the additional cost of all the businesses that have those employees that are normally their full-time employees not there to do the work of the businesses, or the families that are missing their family member, or the National Guardsmen who signed up to actually help and have to be disillusioned as they stand on a street corner and get yelled at by citizens and have to clean up trash. He also doesn't care about our cattle ranchers because he wants us to import beef from Argentina, the same Argentina we're giving $40 billion to, the same Argentina that took our soybean market. He wants to take their beef. It sounds like he's Argentina first. It sounds like he's Israel first. It sounds like he's even Qatar, however you say it first. Because he's taking a plane from them and getting a golf course over there and allowing them to come build a facility in the United States. And there are still, literally, adults with brains and eyes and ears that think that man is doing a good job and that anything he's doing is helping America at all, because it's not. And on top of all of that, he's now floating the idea that the DOJ that he's turned into his personal goon squad, that the DOJ should have to give him $230 million for the investigations that he was put through. Setting aside all of the evidence that proves that he actually is a criminal and actually did do the things that he was charged with, even people that are completely innocent and are put through hell and have to pay out of their own pockets to defend themselves, it is incredibly, incredibly rare for someone that was wrongfully prosecuted or maliciously prosecuted to ever get anything out of it, let alone millions, let alone $230 million. And this allegedly selfless president that allegedly doesn't take a salary while grifting the hell out of the American people in his position, he thinks that he is entitled to $230 million because of the investigations into his misconduct. And because he's corrupt as hell and the DOJ is currently corrupt as hell, they're probably going to give it to him. How on earth is that getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse? How on earth is anything he's doing America first?
Trump plans to have America be the 7th business that he bankrupts. Okay, now wait. I know you're like, oh, I know he said he's going to treat it like a business, but it's not actually a business. You can't bankrupt America. Okay, listen to this. So Trump bankrupted 6 businesses. I believe they were all casinos. And people are like, oh, that makes him a bad businessman. Yes, it does. But also, no, it doesn't. Because what happen? Why do you bankrupt a business? When you are a private equity firm or you're a big business and you buy another business, your purpose, your goal is to extract as much profit as you can out of that business and then either sell it to the next bidder, or you can keep it if it's a really good strategic asset, like it has good potential for future growth. But most private equity firms don't care about that. They want to get as much money as they can out of that business in the short term and then sell it off again. And how do they get that biggest profit? They do a bunch of layoffs when they first buy it, right? What happened when Trump got in office? Oh, we're shrinking the government. Oh, we got the whole Doge fiasco happened, and they laid off a bunch of people in the federal government. Okay, stay with me. They lower they give more work to the people who are left so that they can save money. They increase the prices of all of the products typically that they are selling. I'm like, what do we have as the products? Healthcare is one. Healthcare expense. Everything is going up. Everything that every product that America sells is going up. You put the tariffs on everything. That's a version of increasing prices of everything in America. So he made all the prices go up. Okay. And then the last step for a private equity firm or a business that's, trying to extract as much profit out of a business before they dump it and drop it and leave it for parts, is they take out a bunch of loans on that business. And then the loans that they get from that business, the actual money, they put it in their pockets, in their own personal pockets, in the executives' pockets, in the shareholders' pockets, and they leave the debt on the business, and then they file for bankruptcy for the business. But the business, remember, whenever you have a business, you have a limited liability company, a LLC. That means you are limited by the you have limited liability to that company, limited liability company. That means the banks can sue the company for the money, but if the company doesn't have it, the company goes bankrupt. But they can't sue you because you are not the business. You are a different entity from the business. That's the whole point of having a business, is to have a different entity from your personal person. And so during that big, beautiful, ugly bill, what did it say? It said the debt ceiling for America was going to go up and up and up and up and up to like the highest debt ceiling was ever going to go. But guess who has made the most profit ever as a sitting president? Donald Trump. Y'all, are y'all listening? Like, he's bankrupted America. He's planned to bankrupt America. This has been his strategy again and again and again and again, is to get a business, lay off the people, work them to the bone, for the people who are left, who are there to do the rest of the services, increase the prices of everything that you're selling, take out loans on that business, keep all the money from the loans yourself, don't put it into the business, and then drop the business and run to the next one. Like, that is the whole plan. That's how you make profit in private equity. That's how you make profit in acquisitions. Like, that's how you make profit. Like, sometimes, of course, they'll buy the business and they'll like merge it and integrate it, and then they'll actually use it to invest in the business and make the business better. But like, that is the minority of the time is that happens. Like, usually when businesses buy another business, they buy it, they take out the best pieces of it, put it inside their own business, and then leave the rest for scraps. Like that's it. And in private equity specifically, they buy it, they pump some money into it, get as much profit as they can, and then literally just drop the whole thing. They don't even merge the businesses or the service. Like Toys R Us, gone. What is it, like Michael's or Mary and Joe? Like some craft shop is gone. Like, whenever they buy, like whenever private equity buys like businesses, they destroy them. They destroy them, and they eat them all up. They eat up every nutritious part of the business, and then leave the rest for scraps. And then if you like that service, sorry, it's gone now. Little kitties, you like Toys R Us, sorry. Anyway, so I'm going too far, but yeah. So that is what Donald Trump is doing. He is treating America like a business, and y'all don't know why you're acting like he didn't bankrupt 6 casinos, because that is what he did with his businesses, and he's doing the same thing now with America this time. All right, bye. Oh, and that is why they are holding back on this government shutdown, the Republican Party, and that is because they want to be able to take out those loans and extract as much money as they can, put it in their own pockets. But the Democrats are saying no, some of that money needs to go back to the American people via health care. And the Republicans are not trying to hear that. They're like, no, that's our money. But they're not going to tell you, the public, that. They're going to say, oh, the Democrats are being difficult. Oh, the Democrats are, they're just using this government shutdown for a political gain, or all this dumb stuff that they're saying. But no, we know what it is. They want to get as much money out of those tax dollars that we're paying the government. They want that to go in their personal pockets. And if they have to pay for health care, that is millions of dollars not going in their pockets. So why would they give y'all health care when they could have another yacht, when they could buy a private island? So anyways, I just wanted to, that's why the government shutdown is happening, because he is trying to get his coin.
Donald Trump is now blaming you for tariffs not working. And I'm serious. Donald Trump made a Truth Social post, and he said that consumers having to stock purchase and not just continuously going to the grocery store, that is the reason that the tariffs are not working. And once consumers do start going to the store and not being able to avoid paying the tax, that is when we will see great wealth to the country. Donald Trump's, story on how the country is going to get wealth since he was campaigning, got elected, and now has changed dramatically. First, it was only going to take 24 hours for the entire country to feel the effects of his tariffs. He said it was not that hard. Then it changed into 2 weeks. When he first got into office, he kept blaming Joe Biden. He said, I just need 2 weeks, a couple weeks, and you will start to feel it. Now, in November, almost December, he has just resorted to blaming you for the tariffs not working. Never mind the fact that every economist last year said that that Donald Trump's economic plan was going to drive this country into a recession. Donald Trump said, nope, everybody else is lying. And he said in his post that anybody that disagrees with him is a foreign agent, which is really ironic because all of the big MAGA influencers over on Twitter just got exposed for not even being based in the United States. Donald Trump is scrambling. He doesn't know who to blame. His approval ratings are in fucking hell. And now he's just blaming you for it. This is crazy.
I got an unpopular opinion, but I think that Donald Trump might be the best thing that ever happened to America. And I'm not trolling. Hear me out. See, I didn't say that because I support his politics or praise his policies. I said it because for the first time in a long time, America is being forced to look at itself in the mirror, and it's extremely uncomfortable. Ugly, messy, but necessary. See, Trump didn't invent division, racism, or greed. He just ripped the bandage off the wound that the country has been pretending doesn't exist. And in doing so, he made people who were asleep finally wake up. He made people start asking real questions. Why are rights being stripped away? Why is truth under attack? Why are so many clinging to power when the rest of us can barely afford rent or mortgage? See, this is not about loving or hating Donald Trump. This is about understanding that the chaos that is Trump exposed the fractures in our foundation. And sometimes you gotta break it to rebuild it stronger. And now maybe, just maybe, we'll finally have the discussions about race, history, class, democracy that everybody's been avoiding for decades. So go ahead and go drop a comment. Agree, disagree with me, educate me, whatever you want. Because if we don't talk about it now, when will we?
Okay, welcome back. So Trump genuinely believes that America can survive or even thrive by cutting off itself from, the rest of the world, as if we are still in the 1950s or, even before that, as if the rest of the world is just frozen, waiting for America's approval. No. The truth is, we live in a world where cooperation and multilateralism are no longer options. You have to work with, they are the foundation of global power. Now, America, that claims to be a global power, needs to work with everybody else. But it should also be on a respectful ground. You don't have to always undermine other people's sovereignty for you to show your power. No country moves alone, not China, not Russia, not even the EU combined, and certainly not the United States of America. Yet Trump is continuously pushing America back into isolation, like, a sinking ship sealing its own exit. He pulls out of global agreements. He refuses to show up for summits. We saw the other day in the G20 summit in South Africa. He insults America's own allies, destroys partnership, and he just treats diplomacy like it's comedy, like it's a joke. And he genuinely thinks that the world cannot function without America, or perhaps without him. He loves to be the center of everything. But the other day in South Africa, we saw when the G20 summit happened and Donald Trump chose not to show up, that everything went on like it didn't matter. And that's a strong message. Meanwhile, the world is looking at America like, we are fine. You are the one that is collapsing. You're the one that is missing out by not being on tables of negotiation where America has always led the negotiations. And here is maybe the real consequence many people are not talking about, that if America collapses today and maybe perhaps become irrelevant, the world will not collapse. That's just the truth. The world will simply realign, shift, and move on. And other powers will jump in to fill the vacuum. It's like a job with thousands of job seekers just waiting for you to get fired so that they can take over your position. And let's face the truth. There are other world powers today that are threatening to actually peacefully dethrone the United States of America from being a superpower. China is rising without using force, without using guns and violence anywhere else. And everybody is beginning to accept that China is becoming unbeatable in all senses, And Trump is burning diplomatic bridges at the exact moment when America needs them the most. You need to talk to people on a peer level. But Trump, who thinks he is the center of everything, wants to always undermine everybody else. You see how he treats other world leaders when he's out there, maybe except for Putin, because I think he fears and respects Putin and the president of China, Xi. Also, I want us to also talk about the cultural factor, and especially the black culture factor, and what Trump probably doesn't understand, or is just he chooses to ignore this. And here is something that mainstream America never wants to admit, that for many years or for decades, the only reason the world has tolerated America's hypocrisy, because the world has always been gradually realizing the hypocrisy hidden in the American system. The wars, the invasion of other people's land, the bullying, the double standards when dealing with other people. It's because of Black Americans or Black people in America and other minorities. Yeah, and I say Black people have been America's soft spoken power, or soft power. The Black culture, Black music, Black inventions, Black athletes, Black creativity, and Black resilience. Even while being oppressed, Black Americans shaped the world's perception of America. They softened America's image. They gave the world something worth loving about the United States of America. People from Africa, people from the Caribbean, even people from Asia and Europe, they say that America treats Black people terribly, but we see these Black people are still standing. They're still striving. They're still fighting, still creating, still contributing. Maybe America isn't as terrible as it looks, because of seeing, basically, Black culture is a major export, American export to the rest of the world. It is a way America is influencing the rest of the world. You can go out to check how much Black culture influences what people do outside of America. You will know that it's a big American export. Black people acted like, how can I say, the moral insurance policy for America for a long time. But now, America is really, Donald Trump especially, is ripping that mask off. There's no more hiding. He openly displays arrogance, white supremacy, ignorance, hostility, and of course, isolationism, which is, what we are talking about here for the world to see. And the world is responding exactly how you would expect in this case. Yeah. Where America is really, moving away, the world is moving together and in the opposite direction from Trump's policies. Where America is isolating itself, the rest of the world is forming new blocs, new alliances, and new partnerships. And where America is retreating, it seems the world, the rest of the world, is actually now advancing in those fronts. Where America is dividing, then the rest of the world is finding the reason to unify. So Trump thinks, and some Americans are actually arguing, that maybe Trump he knows what he's doing, and he's deliberately trying to bankrupt America. He's deliberately trying to divide America for his own personal greedy reasons. But maybe he thinks that he's saving America himself. But what he's actually doing is he is shrinking America, weakening America, and isolating the US right out of global respect, global relevance, And the most ironic part here is when America finally falls from its traditional pedestal, being seen as the light of the world, the superpower that has been, the world will not really cry about that. The world will not collapse. It's a painful truth for America to accept, for Americans to accept. The world will not beg for America's return. It will simply just realign and move on. And because Trump has made America forget something simple yet powerful, being feared is not the same as being respected. And being loud is not the same as being powerful. So if America wants to walk away from, the world will let go, and it will just shift, rearrange, realign, and move, and forge forward. Yeah. Share with me what you think about this in the comment section below. If you like this video and these kinds of videos, then give this video a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. And I'll see you in the next video.